Hello everyone, this is Bless, and welcome to my high-level macro of the new DE train. So let's go ahead and get started with the bomb sites. First, we're going to talk about the A-bomb site. So let's talk about plants, because of course your goal in every round is to get the bomb plant and defend it until it explodes on the T side. So you can plant basically everywhere around the bomb train, all these spots on all four sides, and you can also plant on top of the bomb train, on either side here, and even on this little ledge. You actually cannot plant on this little ledge, and then also on top of this part of the bomb train, you cannot. It seems like I don't know if you can actually get up here, but you can't plant the bomb up here. So that means the bomb is defendable from Ivy/back hall. It is going to be defendable from this area where Olaf and Hell previously used to be. You could probably still call them Olaf and Hell. And it is sometimes defendable from Pop Dog, but you do have to peek out quite a bit. If you come over here, if you planted the bomb towards the back of the bomb train, you're going to have to swing quite wide in order to see a CT defusing it. But if you planted it on the CT side of the bomb train, you don't have to peek as wide. And of course, if you plant it towards the front or on the front or on top of this front half of the bomb train, then it's also fairly easy to defend, but you also don't have a lot to play around when you're trying to play the game of cat and mouse with the CT defusing, and for example, in a 1v1. So, that is the bomb site. It is quite difficult to defuse safely as a CT because you have to watch out for 3 different locations across 180 degrees worth of angles, especially if you go back here. Like, yes, this is it's quite difficult because the T's can see quite a bit just from back here in Ivy, and they can peek from either side of this little gap over here where Sandwich used to be. Yeah, that's Sandwich. Sandwich is the right call out. So actually retaking and defusing is going to be pretty difficult. However, at the same time, we have a similar situation to Ancient A site, where yes, it's very difficult to defuse, but it's also very difficult to get a safe plant if you're not coming in and attacking the bomb site from enough directions. So here we have 180 degrees worth of angles to cover over 3 different directions. We have the Ivy entrance to A site, and we have the T-Con entrance to A site, and we have the Pop Dog entrance to A site. We have 3 different entrances to the yard, the outside yard, and then we have like a billion angles in between that not only can we as T's try to defend a post plant, but also for CTs to defend. So there's a lot of space that the CTs have to defend here on the bomb site. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to see a similar situation to A site Ancient, where you have to pinch the site from at least 2 directions. You have to come through T-Con and Ivy, for example. So you send a big force of Ivy, 3 guys Ivy, and then you come out through this new single entrance because, well, Old Bomb has now been closed off, and if you want to go this way towards Hell, you have to commit hard to Hell. There's no longer this gap over here. That was previously at back 6, where you could see from this side of Hell into sight. So in that sense, it's quite similar to the older train A-bomb site. So it's going to be difficult to defend on both sides. It's going to be difficult to defend as a CT, trying to stop the bomb plant, and it's going to be, but because of the lower and it's going to be difficult to defend as you're trying to retake the bomb site as well, when you're trying to defend the user. Now, if you're a terrorist, then you have to worry about lots of retake angles in a high number situation. For example, you have to worry about the new Pop Dog, because Pop Dog is now connected like this to B halls, to Brown halls. So a CT can easily flank from Pop Dog. And you also have to worry about connector, as usual. And then might have to worry about CT, although it is quite difficult for CTs to fully clear this area out safely, because ideally you want to be moving in a group of 2 or 3, and then a single T can just sort of play ring around the rosy here with making lots of footsteps. And then let's say you come over this way, well then the T's will hear you running, and then he starts walking behind you around like this, and then he just shoots you in the back as you try and go out. So it's going to be hard to defend the bomb site as CTs and defend the bomb defusal on a retake as well. So I think this new site is actually going to be pretty T-sided. If you look at it, there's not a lot of places for the CTs to stand now. You have the bomb train, which gives quite not amazing cover, to be perfectly honest. You don't have really these headshot angles. You have this new headshot angle, which was also existed on an old train where you could play old bomb. People would say that you're playing old bomb here, and you have these headshot angles. You would be able to play on the bomb train as well, in between the two boxes, and sort of play around it. But now you don't really have a lot of space to play around anything. You have like maybe this, but even this is pretty awkward. You kill people here, but you're also eating any flashes that come over this top area. And then of course this is going to be smoked every single time. This should be smoked every single time to cut off the rotates. Also, Heaven has been removed from the map, so if you're trying to play a 3A setup or some heavy B setup, take space towards brown halls and deny a fast B hit from the T's, then it's also going to be difficult there because you've lost one of the best hiding spots on the map. And then, of course, this awkwardness over here is going to be as well. So the saving grace is probably the fact that Ivy looks to be incredibly difficult for T's to take from the CTs. If you look at these new angles, where you would try and smoke off one side and go to the other, it's very awkward. So you see I'm trying to sort of pug a smoke over here like this. The smoke sticks out. Not only does it stick out a lot, but I'm also incredibly vulnerable because I'm so close to the angle compared to the CT. Whenever I'm trying to throw any of these smokes, a part of my arm might just be sticking out, so you have to be fairly conservative in terms of where you want to pug your smoke from, where you want to be standing when you sort of pug this right side Ivy smoke, but you also don't have the leeway to be super stingy with your angles over here, because you need the smoke to land deep enough. That was a bad smoke, but you need your smoke to land deep enough so it can bounce off this wall and go deep like this. Also, crossing Ivy is going to be incredibly difficult. This is just going to be an Opper's Paradise. There is no more monster over here that you can sort of try and play from two angles on. There is no railing over here that you can use to jump across and bait out an Opper shot. So what I think is going to start happening is T's are going to have to smoke Ivy like this and cross. Cross like so. And then from here, they can throw some sort of Ivy smoke. That will hopefully smoke off the left side here, but even then, this is a pretty wide area. You need the smoke to go pretty deep. So what I think is there's going to be some sort of airlock smoke in order to take space, and then they'll creep up behind the smoke, and they will throw this smoke in order to block off this back area. Another way that T's could take Ivy is, well, it's because even if you smoke off this side, the CTs can still be playing from over here, and play these angles. Like this is a fall-off angle, this is another fall-off angle. A CT could be playing on the bomb train. Let's say the CT somehow got control of T-Con. They smoked this off. They have a guy sitting in here behind the smoke, just like an old train. Then they can have a guy sitting on the bomb train and holding Ivy like this. So while I did say that the bomb site, if the T's managed to take Ivy, the bomb site will be very difficult to defend. On the flip side, if the T's cannot take Ivy, then they can only enter the bomb site from T-Con and from Pop Dog. And if you're only coming in from these two angles, then, well, let's say you're a CT sitting back here in the back of the bomb site. Well, now all of a sudden you don't even have 90 degrees worth of angles to worry about. You only have to worry about these two spots, and it's like not a huge flick. You can sit over here with an op holding like this. You still have this hell angle to watch people coming out of T-Con. And you have all of these different hell angles. Even this angle exists now. So if you can sit in hell, then you can watch anyone trying to walk out Pop Dog and fight like this. On a site like this is going to be difficult for them. So Ivy, as a way to force the CTs to have to watch their back, is going to be incredibly important. And I think we're going to see a lot of dynamic defenses around Ivy. Around Ivy control, the terrorists faking Ivy control, the CTs trying to maintain Ivy control while skimping as many players, because there's just so many of these angles that the Ts will have to deal with. I think another way to take Ivy is if the Ts try and initially smoke off this, the right side, and they fight off on the left side, and then just like on Old Train, they will fight towards Old Bomb, and then if they can clear out this area, then they can finally now threaten the A bomb site from behind, as well as having a lurk in A main and or Pop Dog, or they can even threaten to wrap CT to go to B, which we saw happen a lot with the Old Train. So these fundamentals of gameplay regarding Ivy and how it impacts the rest of the map, they don't really change too much. However, there is a lot more open space when you're coming out of T-Con and out of Pop Dog. Well, Pop Dog hasn't changed too much. You still have to worry about this red train and anyone playing on top of it, but there's a lot less space for CTs to play in. They need control of Ivy, and they need control of one of Pop Dog and or T-Con if they want to be able to play on the bomb site. Now, if you have Ivy control, then maybe you're saying, okay, well, we don't really need to play on the bomb site because our retake is going to be so easy. There's only so many places that the T's can sit in for post plant. If we have Ivy control, then we can control Hell at the very least and maybe threaten Olaf as well. So it's not like the T's will have anywhere to play the post plant from. However, if your Hell player ends up dying, let's say on an A execute, there's some sort of smoke over here that lets the T's entry down here, and they manage to kill your Hell player, well, now all of a sudden it's going to be a lot harder to hold the post plant. So this Hell player, this Hell/Ivy player, whoever's responsible for this area of the map, is going to be sort of essentially the anchor for the A site. And if they die and they lose all this space, then now it's just going to be an impossible retake coming in from old gear, even from here. So I really see Ivy becoming the most important part of the map, almost as we saw it was in CS:GO. In CS:GO as well, Old Train is very important. Back in 2017, we saw a lot of focus on Ivy from Fallen and his team. We saw a similar focus on Ivy from Astralis as well when they rarely played the map. And that's A site. The main, so to summarize, the main issue that the CTs will have to deal with is the amount of angles that they have to cover in the case that Ivy falls. But as long as their Ivy defense is solid, then any sort of retake should be quite trivial. Due to the breadth of angles that are available to the T's and the CTs. Now, going on to B site. B site has changed quite a bit. There used to be a train back here. Now there is not. Bomb train is pretty similar in the sense that the overall structure hasn't changed too much. There's one giant tower in the center here, and then there's one fewer train over here in the back as well, I believe. There was Cloud Train, and I think there might have been one more here, but I can't remember quite for sure. Also, long upper has been blocked off by this little outhouse. So now this op angle is no longer available. In fact, there's no longer any spools here either, so even if this little outhouse wasn't here, you wouldn't be able to sit here with an op on a headshot angle and hold people. So coming out upper has become significantly easier. However, it is still the B-bomb site. It is still going to be the smaller site and more clustered and difficult to take because of that, as an attacker. So we see the overall same structure where the T's can come out from upper and they can even fight over here, like they have a bit of an extended balcony. And the other main entrance over here, the lower ramp, has essentially effectively stayed the same. Valve has even kept this window up here that the T's used to throw grenades out from brown halls. So overall, I think the gameplay regarding the B site will be pretty similar. The one thing that was lost for the CTs that's huge is the ability to just jiggle spots safely from here. So you can kind of do it now, but like you're still incredibly vulnerable to both angles, both the upper angle here and the lower angle at the same time. So if you try and get close, you're gonna bonk onto this little orange canister. And you used to be able to do it from back bomb, but now the height of everything has changed. And also the placement of this first white train, which is no longer a white train, it's now Thomas. A certain tank engine train from a children's show. And yeah, it's very difficult to do the same jiggle spot here. You can kind of do it from over here, but not really. You spot over here at ramp, and you don't really have a good angle to spot on upper, so you can't really do this either. Like if you want to do something like this, you get blocked by this train. So as a solo anchor, it has now become difficult to hold both of these. And because of this, it's going to be more important than before to contest brown halls. Because if you can contest brown halls control, then you just get overwhelmed. Or if you don't contest brown hall control, then you might just get overwhelmed in a 5 versus 1 or a 5 versus 2 scenario. Most likely 5 versus 1 because you want to... let's say you have 2 guys in control of Ivy, and then 1 guy playing anchoring the bomb site on bomb train, and then you have 1 guy contesting towards Pop Dog. Then just like previous setups, then you're only going to have 1 guy on B. Additionally, the geometry of this train has also changed a bit. You still have the ladders on the front and back. Same thing for this other train towards CT. And this other train where Cloud used to be. So overall, this is very nice, but these random upper lurks are going to be very, very difficult to deal with as a CT. But at the same time, while you did lose a lot of angles to play around, especially with losing this train and the geometry of this train getting changed and it's coming into place, you still have a lot of places to hide. In fact, you even have some new places with the addition of this little storage train with the ladder in place of Spools. Spools is gone now, but you can sort of play under it like this. You can play under it like this, although I wouldn't necessarily recommend these spots because you could still get lurked out on and then all of a sudden dead. Or if they want to walk out to here and they somehow make it this far, then you could just be booed and dead. Although, yeah, it seems pretty easy to get lurked out on overall. Of course, this angle is still maintained, so if you can successfully take some form of map control towards A, so for example, you can contest Pop Dog, then you can have your Opera come post up here, and they can just watch your Upper free and hold the lurk out. Other than that, for executes, you still probably want this smoke to deny any line of sight, and or this smoke in order to deny the same sight lines. Probably want this one as well. B-bomb site suffers the same issue as before. It hasn't really changed too much for the T's. When you look at the bomb site itself, you can plant basically anywhere within these yellow tubings on the ground, and as well on the bomb the bomb train itself. So let me just go ahead and show that. You can plant here as well. Plant here. You can't plant on this. Plant here, 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 and here, even here in this watered muddy area. It's kind of disgusting. But if you cannot hold some form of deep map control into the bomb site, then the CTs will have, once again, 1, 2, 3 entrances that they can attack you from, and there's not too many places where you can play. They sort of just flood in, assuming their anchor got 1 or 2 kills. The CTs can sort of flood in and you don't have a lot of places to hide. You do have a little bit more places to hide now because this exists. So overall, it seems like a pretty neutral change where the Ts also don't have a lot of places to hide in post plants. Because previously, when there was a train over here, the general theory of B bomb site on train was that you wanted to smoke off 1, 2 lanes deep, kill the site anchor, whether it was playing back summit or somewhere else, and you wanted to plant on the side of the bomb train. That way you could play it from upper, and you could also, you would have 1 guy come back here. This is where Device also got that famous pistol, that famous USP clutch where he just killed people coming through here, and then killed here, and then you guys know the rest of the story. But yes, taking deep map control, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the Ts just because there's nowhere to hide. You're just standing in the open now, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to contest these deep areas. So, however, you did get a little bit of assistance in playing up here and being able to play the post plant from here. You got an extra angle to play with. So I think overall the changes to B are slightly CT-sided just because losing all these areas to play around in the back are going to be so much worse for the Ts trying to get sneaky in post plants compared to how it impacts the CTs. And yes, that is offset slightly by the new angles that the Ts have, and like this, for example, the ease of the upper lurkout getting changed, and like it being more difficult for CT anchor to spot anything. However, it's not enough to outweigh the loss of the Ts being able to get ratty in the post plants deep in the site. So overall, we saw A site get more difficult to defend for CTs, and we saw B site get a little bit more difficult to take and hold for the Ts. So overall, I would say B site got a little bit more CT sided, but A site got a little bit more T sided. And I think the amount of T-sidedness that goes into the A site here is quite a bit, that while train used to be like a 10-5, yes, it was effectively a 10-5 type of map. We'd be happy to get 5 rounds on the T side of train. Out of 15, of course, because CSGO was MR 15. Now I think using CSGO's numbers, it would be a 9-6, or maybe, yes, it would be like a 9-6 map. So don't be too upset if you get only 4 rounds on T side. It's looking like an 8-4 type of map over here. Maybe 7-5 if you get lucky. But also it could just be a blowout T side map. Because it definitely has gotten more T side compared to the past. Especially this A bomb site is just really going to be really difficult to hold for the CTs. You're just not allowed to sit on the bomb site and hold. You're not allowed to go, like, you just don't have this classic op peek from camera. You're sitting in the open here, but you do have this, well, you do have this new angle. You're also vulnerable to Ivy at the same time. So the geometry, so the biggest points would be A site is much less defensible, and geometry at Ivy has changed. These are probably the 2 biggest changes that you need to keep look for. Also, big improvement at Pop Dog, I must say. This is a huge, this is much better than the previous iteration where it was just literally a ladder dropping down. It had a similar issue to drop on Cobblestone, and this has become much more playable for both the Ts and the CTs. The CTs can contest T access to Pop Dog by contesting Brown Hall. And then they can also contest it directly through Pop Dog. So yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.